topic I chose for my diagnosis project is albinism. What is albinism? Albinism typically refers to oculocutaneous, which is a group of disorders inherited by little or no production of pigment melanin. The kind and amount of melanin a person's body produces determines the color of their skin, hair, and eyes. Melanin does play a huge role in developing optic nerves. This means people with albinism do have vision problems. Symptoms for the skin. People with albinism result in white hair and very light colored skin. Skin pigmentation and hair color range from white to brown and can nearly be the same as their siblings and parents without albinism. When someone has this diagnosis and they are in the sun, it can lead to freckles, moles, lentigines, and sunburn because they are unable to tan. Hair color ranges from white to brown. People of African and Asian descent will typically have hair that is yellow, reddish, or brown. Hair color can change and become dark by early adulthood or stain from exposure to normal minerals in water and the environment. And symptoms for eye color and vision. Eyelashes and eyebrows are typically pale in color, as you can see in the picture on the screen. Eye color ranges from very light blue to brown and can possibly change with age. The lack of pigment in the colored parts of the person's eyes make their iris somewhat translucent. In vision, eye problems and issues may include sensitivity to light, poor depth perception, strabismus, photophobia, nystagmus, blindness, and astigmatism, which is when you see when you're driving, there's lights and there's like a line through the lights. Causes. Several genes provide instructions for making one of several proteins involved in the production of melanin. Melanin is produced by cells called melanocytes, which are found in your skin, hair, and eyes. Albinism is caused by a mutation in one of these genes. Different types of albinism can occur based mainly on which gene mutation caused the disorder. The mutation may result in no melanin at all or significantly reduced amount of melanin. So the picture to the left says dark, and that's a picture of what darker melanin would look like versus a picture of the lighter melanin that's on the right-hand side. Types of albinism. The first type is oculocutaneous albinism, also known as OCA, which is the most common type. This means a person inherited 2 copies of a mutated gene, one from each parent. It's the result of a mutation in one of 7 genes. They are labeled from OCA1 to OCA7. OCA causes a decreased pigment in the skin, hair, and eyes, and vision problems. The amount of pigment varies by type, and the resulting color of skin, hair, and eyes also varies by and within types. Ocular albinism is mainly about the eyes, and it causes vision problems. The most common type is type 1. This is inherited by a gene mutation on the X chromosome, and ocular albinism occurs almost exclusively in males and is not as common as OCA. Now for the social determinants of health. Number 1, we have economic stability. So someone with albinism may have trouble finding a job or becoming financially stable due to the fact that their job may involve a lot of reading, where they have to look at smaller letters, like being a part of the news team or being outside. They will need special accommodations for their eyes and skin so they don't have skin cancer or sensitivity to light if they're having a job outside. So it might be harder for someone to find a job if they are albino. Number 2 is education access and quality. Education quality will come into play with social and community context as well. albinism isn't something that can be cured, but the eye conditions